Allman.
Hello.
Brian's here, you guys. Let me refresh this real quick. Hope everyone's doing well out there. No comments about it being like, because I can see a little light here. I was just making sure it's okay. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. I had to kind of call a little audible today. I'm always doing the live streams here Saturdays at 1 o'clock Pacific time because I'm in San Diego, California. And this week we had Carrie Too Smooth, the R&B guitar player, was booked for today, and he had a little thing come up, and so he had to reschedule. So I had to come up with a new idea for today's live stream, and that is Allman Brothers soloing techniques, because I know that pretty well. So that's like not having to work too hard to come up with a little topic. But anyway, I see your comments here. Really appreciate you guys hanging out for this. Looking at some comments there. I've got my buddy Brian. Now, last week, Brian had his own situation pop up, so he wasn't here. So I guess things pop up when you're trying to go live.
Let's go live.
Brian's little daughter, got a little boo-boo. Just had to make sure that she was okay, and she's okay, right?
She's perfectly good.
Okay.
Her nose is all skinned up now.
Oh, she skinned up her nose? That's a good one.
It's new.
I remember my little brother, Zach, he fell out of the top bunk one morning, and like smashed his nose. And it was like just happened to be when they were doing school pictures. So he has that one classic.
It's better than a normal picture. It's more
Oh,
interesting.
you remember it forever.
Yeah,
But he's got that one classic like second grade picture, and where his nose is all scabbed up. It's pretty funny. So I wanted to pick a few Allman Brothers little topics, which I think would be fun. Oh, we got a super chat there.
Scar my guitar.
Oh, giving guitars away. Scar my guitars.
It's my
Giving.
ride style. So
Pimp-
you like take a guitar and pimp it like Jamie's car.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, my buddy Jamie was on Overhauling. Was the one he was on. Overhauling. He could never. Jamie was on the show himself, and he should have it memorized. What season, what episode? And whenever I ask him, he's like, "Oh, I think it's season 7, but
That's Jamie style.
that is Jamie style."
Thank you, Ozio.
Yeah, Vozio, Don Felder or Joe Perry. Wow, they're so different from each other. Isn't that a weird, like, verses when they're not really similar?
It's so weird. I don't even know who Don Felder is.
Oh, okay. Well, Don Felder was in the Eagles, and he's the one that like wrote the full instrumental demo for Hotel California.
Really?
Yeah. So like in the documentary, which I highly recommend, the Eagles documentary. Basically, in the Eagles documentary, Don Henley, they basically write, Hotel California to it, the vocals and stuff. And so then they tell Don Felder that now they wrote it instead of Don Felder.
Did Joe Walsh replace him?
No, Joe Walsh and Don Felder were in the band at the same time. But I don't think Don Felder was original. They had a more in that peaceful, easy feeling, and what's another like early Eagles song?
I don't know. Timeline.
Not Hotel California era, but before that.
Take It
Peaceful.
Easy?
Yeah, Take It Easy. Thank you. Take It Easy had those more country sounding licks and stuff. That was a different guitar player that played guitar and banjo. I can't remember his name right now. Eagles, very significant band, but not one of my favorite.
How many guitars?
Not one of my favorite bands, but
How many guitars did they have?
well, Glenn Frey definitely did a lot of singing, but he played guitar. And then they had, I think, Don Felder and the more country sounding guy. They got
Super Rocky Boy.
Huh?
Super Rocky Boy, 57.
Hey, please play Johnny Be Good. Is that who said that?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, he's not the only one requesting Johnny Be Good on this guitar, because I talked about how I picked the Cherry because of Marty McFly and Back to the Future. And that's a perfect song to play, right? But another thing about this Gibson that there was some confusion, and also has to do with like how long ago I was talking to Gibson, how long ago I shot the video at the factory. The timelines are kind of mixed up because I talk about things on the live stream that maybe haven't come out yet on YouTube, because sometimes videos are getting produced and edited and stuff. But anyway, as far as this guitar, I did get to, for like a standard ES335, I did pick every element, you know, the block inlays, the color, the pickups, all that. But there's also, when I said I went through the design process, there was a whole set of design elements that I've picked for this guitar that would need to go through the Gibson custom shop. And the Gibson custom shop is super, they're like way deep backlogged with the amount of work that they're doing. So all I'm saying is this guitar, it is you can get everything on this guitar right now from Gibson.com. Not plugging them right now, but hopefully in the future, if and when I keep going through the process and I get my own signature, there's going to be a few little, other personal modifications that will happen to it. Just wanted to point that out.
That video was such an awesome launch.
Thank you so much, Brian. I got to say, Brian here, who's behind the scenes, we've been friends since before I even played a guitar, and we were friends as big-time music fans, classic rock we listen to, and Brian's got amazing taste in music and had, you've always been super musically driven. Not as a musician, but as a musicologist, listening, history, discovering. So for Brian to say that here, even though you can't see him, it's really cool to have such an old friend who, remembers before I played guitar, as well as when I could only play a couple of notes or play harmonica in the wrong key. So that is cool, Brian, huh? That we went from that to me making my own 335.
You're a right key kind of guy now.
Huh? Oh, I try to be in the right key. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so which brings me to some of the soloing stuff for the Allman Brothers, which is what this, obviously the element of the live stream that's so cool is that we can just go off and do anything. You guys can give comments, and I can immediately react. I mean, that's the whole point of live. So even though it's labeled Allman Brothers Soloing Techniques, I'm happy to talk about whatever you guys want, any topics you're interested in. I'd love to hear from you guys. Brian's literally burning the corneas out of his eyes, staring at the comments on the computer screen. I've got your comments right here as well. Yeah, people are saying, hey, Brian. They call me the Breeze. That's Skinnerd, but that's okay.
I love Skinner.
Yeah, I know. I love Skinnerd too. Okay, so I was playing through that One Way Out. I didn't forget about Johnny Be Good, but so if you take the pentatonic, Dickie Betts really kind of wrote the Bible on the major pentatonic. But if we went to the minor pentatonic right here, a big little a motif that's used a lot by Dickie Betts is this vibe. So there's this little move that he does all over the place all the time, especially in the major pentatonic form. But let's just go into the straight up A minor pentatonic. And we're going to go to, everyone, grab your guitars. We're going to go to the 7th fret G. Wouldn't this be cool if this was a classroom right now? Everyone grab your guitars. Oh, Mr. Schwartz, we can't do that. No homework. 7th fret on the G string, thinking of that pentatonic. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll it over to the 7 on the D. Like that. So that's the first piece of it. Then you're going to go to 5 of the G. Okay, but then now we just went up a whole step on the G to the 7th fret. So roll over, then 5 on the G, 7 on the G. So I put that together. Then I release back to that 5 on that G. That sounds like this. Like so. And then the phrase ends on that D string 7th fret. So you put that together. Just gonna get a little red ping on the guitar track. Just making sure we're okay. So you put that together. If you do 2 of them, it would sound like this. So that's one little phrase. I'll do it over the loop. Oh no, I got rid of the loop. I'm used to always trying to delete my loops. Here we go. All right, so here comes that line. How we doing, Brian?
Good.
So you got to do it really slow, and then you speed it up. But then from there, there's a really nice little on that D string. You could slide it down and add that piece to break it up. And so that little move is just on the D and G. So think of it as that D string 7 sliding down. Think of the phrase starting on the 5th fret of the G. And you just improvise those 2 vibes. And when you put them together, you can do, takes a little time. You want to do it really slow, but you'd get this. Everyone with me, or most of you with me? No stairway denied. Anything else going on there, Brian?
Happy birthday, Jenna.
Happy birthday, Jenna?
Yep.
Happy birthday, Jenna. So check this out, though. I'm going to play a progression now, more of that Rambling Man, Blue Sky thing. We're going to think very major right now. I'm going to play a C major chord to an F major chord, which is basically the jam of Blue Sky in a different key, but I want to keep it in the same position right now just to show you a whole nother thing you can do with that. So I'm going to play C, then the F with the looper. I love having Brian here. Helps me not have to stare at the screen so much, which can throw me off.
Definitely.
You know? So Brian is always watching. You like this setup, Brian, where you can just see the screen like that?
Oh, it's nice.
You usually were checking your phone, right?
That's true.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to loop that. So now we're not in the more A minor pentatonic vibe of the A blues. We're playing the C major pentatonic, which just happens to share all the same notes as the A minor pentatonic. The difference is now that we're playing it over C, and C feels like home bass. So I've still got that classic pentatonic shape. But C is the root. Rocky Mountain Way. Don't forget that one, Brian. Rocky Mountain Way.
Vozio, thank you.
Yeah, Vozio. Rocky Mountain Way. I won't forget that. And Johnny Be Good. I haven't forgotten those. You guys can request some other stuff, but I'm going to definitely do those too. So, but real quick, I wanted to at least fulfill what the thumbnail says, which is Allman Brothers soloing techniques. So I'm going to take that exact same concept and play it in the C major form. Check it out. Didn't have to do anything new. The exact same lick, but in its major form. So there's always going to be what's called the relative major and relative minor. It's the same pool of notes, but one is thinking of the minor sound of the scale, which would be all the same stuff, but thinking of it as A minor, and then all the same stuff, but as C major. So I'm going to just do it an octave up right here on the B and high E string. So that's the concept. I'm going to keep that guitar ready. But next, what we're going to do something I'm pretty not very good at. But I spent about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, practicing a little bit of slide guitar every day. So I'm better than I was before that. I haven't really studied or tried slide guitar in at least 1 year. But I'll talk about that real quick because that's also Rocky Mountain Way. So open E tuning is the best way, I think, to learn slide guitar. So you have the high E, you got the low E, but then the A string, you move up a whole step to B. And then the D string, you bring up a whole step to an E note. The G, you bring up a half step to G sharp. And so what you get is an open E chord without any fingers. Let me just go through again. E. So what you get from that is, since you get one chord open, so if you have the 10th fret right across the fret there, and then up to that 12th fret, you get a D and an E chord. Oops. And another thing about that is that, like, if you're thinking of the key of E or a blues in E, with the slide, you have all kinds of cool stuff just in a perfect box right around there. And a little bit higher action would help. This has really low action right now. I mean, someone like Derek Trucks can blast through with low action, no problem. I cannot. But check it out. You have a box across the whole, all 6 strings. Whereas the 12th fret feels always resolved. Oh, there we go. That's a little something there. Let's see. It was starting to come back a little bit. What do you think, Brian?
Sounds awesome. I like it.
Someone was strangling a cat behind this backdrop. I just remembered there's a couple of really cool things here. Something that I didn't get that down that good, but it's that like choke, where you rake across the muted strings to the note. Like Derek Trucks, man, like that's something that you're not thinking about, but like after this live stream or even right now, go listen to Derek Trucks and hear that scratch, that rake of percussiveness before he hits a big note. Let's go neck here. But so when you're in that open E tuning, you have this perfect box and then a minor third box. So you get this. So no matter what, you have a very symmetrical scale that works really well. So that was just open E tuning. You want to start messing with it. You got your finger behind the slide, like index finger, middle finger, kind of muting behind it. And then your right hand is doing tons of muting. So if I'm hearing the high E string, I'm muting everything other than what I'm plucking with my fingers. So if I'm hitting the high E string, my thumb is resting on the strings. And then thumb picks, and then index goes to mute the high E. Like so. So, I think we covered the Allman Brothers soloing techniques, at least to fulfill that thumbnail that my editor Jacob worked really hard on. So I just want to make sure that we, that I'm not, that I'm talking the talk, walking the walk.
That sounded good, man.
Thanks, dude. It was like coming back to me. I have like,
Are you a glass slide guy?
yeah. I mean, I'm just like whatever Derek Trucks does, I'll like
That's what you're gonna do.
gonna like.
Emulate the best.
It'll give me my best chance. Like you gotta base it on something, right? But I did this one. I got down, which is a Joe Walsh thing, really. That's a good one. So I got that one. So I got that. Then I got this one. And the other thing, because it's, I don't know if you, hopefully you guys are still with me, but 12th fret on the G string, that's the major third, which makes it sound like an E major. But if you slide right below it, it's the minor third. So you can get, there it is, sorry. So that's the minor pentatonic. Here's the major. But minor. You also have the blues note. So it's all right there. Open E tuning. I always would work on slide for like 10 minutes and be like, oh God, this is going to take some work. But then as soon as I like consciously put the guitar into open E, it made all the difference and it made it way more fun. All right. Brian, how we doing? Brian's there.
We're good. We got to thank Caden Barnes for the super chat.
Caden
Caden said he got a Gibson. Was inspired.
Wow. Wow, dude. Well, big shout out to you, my friend. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a looper, but I'm gonna try and set it up because when you play Johnny Be Good, the band kicks in on the 4 chords, so they're not on the like 1 beat of the 12-bar blues progression. So I have to think about it with the looper. So you're gonna watch me, but this would be a good little looper tutorial as well to just watch how I would think about doing Johnny Be Good. It has to start with the 4, but then also play all the way through the 12-bar blues. So I'm gonna just in my head I'm gonna go. Oops, wrong key. So one screw up. All right, so it starts on the 4. Let's see if I can pull this off a little. Oh, I have to turn the drive down now. All right. Vazio says, play Paperback Writer. What's so funny is look up, the Beatles only tried to play that live themselves once. And look it up on YouTube. Just shows you how amazing they were in the studio by that point. They couldn't really, and you know, nowadays anyone could, the Beatles could actually play great shows today with all the layering and the sampling of their higher range voices, because like Paperback Writer, they're like layering their voices like all over the place. The guitar stuff's great in that though. But anyway, thanks for the request. I do appreciate it. Brian, did I forget? Was there? Oh, we did. I did Rocky Mountain Way with the slide. I did Johnny Be Good with the looper coming in on the 4, and it worked, didn't it?
It was awesome.
It worked.
You did it.
So that's a little, you know, a little more advanced looper technique. Is like looping it not on the 1. Any other special shout outs or requests?
Aaron Sutherland wants you to know that he passed his higher music exam because of your Blackbird lesson.
Whoa.
He's from Scotland.
Hey, man, thank you so much. My Blackbird lesson is, I think, a really solid lesson and version of Blackbird. Like, note-wise, I feel it's really pretty darn accurate. It's just not where Paul McCartney played those same notes, because he pointed it. I've seen Paul McCartney point out many times that some YouTuber isn't playing it the way he plays it. I'm not assuming that that's me, but I do hear from a lot of people that learn it from me. I always want to point out that that's not where Paul McCartney played the notes, but just to prove my point that it's still Blackbird, is you've got, right? That's a G. That's a B. Well, G and B's right here too. Same thing. See, I'm not even used to it. I've played Blackbird since college, so. See that? Same thing, just different spot. And I did want to point out, because last week I talked about it, but I don't remember if I gave an example, how Green Day always uses that technique where they take the 4 chord. So if Blackbird's in G major, the 4 chord would be C major. And Green Day takes this from the Beatles a lot, is where they take that 4 chord major and then make it minor. And he does it right here. So I think that's good. I think we're good. Everything's good. Everyone's happy. I feel like jamming one more on our way out. Is that cool? Is there any, just because I've got the guitar, I was practiced a lot today before this live stream, just playing for fun, which I recommend you do. I'm sure a lot of you do that, but it's important to just sometimes play with no practicing agenda. Just play because it feels good. That's very important. Sometimes work on something real hard, even if it's just for 5 minutes, some arpeggio technique, whatever, but then play lots because you just dig it. You know what I mean? I broke down Scarlet Begonias, Brian. Like, I took whatever the most famous live version is on Spotify anyway, and I broke down both guitar parts and the solo. It's not out yet. None of those videos are out yet, but I did do it. So I was kind of, you know, there was some really cool, it's actually Bob Weir. That's the Bob Weir part. Where'd it go? All right, thanks for watching. Next Saturday, I have Murphy Carges, the bass player from Sugar Ray, as my guest. And I think we're going to break down a couple of the little Sugar Ray riffs and maybe hear a couple of real stories, behind the music stories. But yeah, so that's next Saturday. Hey, Jack Black says he loves Sugar Ray.
He's been requesting a lot of Tenacious D songs.
Well, then it just really can't be the real Jack Black, can it? And otherwise, it would actually should say Jablinski Games if it was really Jack. But anyway, I'm a huge fan. What are you going to do? Jack Black, yeah, man. Sophia XXX, see me. Oh, that reminds me of what we do in the shadows. See me. Hear me. Does he say something like that? Thank you, Rachel. Chatty Daddy Computers. Thank you, Angus Young. Dude, all the legends are watching. I'm so honored. Sugary, yeah, I'll do that one. It's funny, I mean, I love the Dead. My Dead lessons are definitely popular with my Deadhead audience, but overall, my numbers don't do that great when I do Dead. Doesn't stop me, but I'm just saying they're not barn burners like Nickelback.
Do you have a Pride and Joy lesson?
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. Rachel Lewis, that was my encore, sorry. Toy Robot Army, Gaming Monster, Aaron, Midnight for Entertainment, thank you. John Nielsen, Jack Black wants to know where I buy my hats. Brixton, my hats are from Brixton. So anyway, okay, yeah, here's the encore real quick. That's it. That's all I got. All right, Brian, hit the off button. My batteries need to recharge, you guys. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching.